my name is Utibe. I created Love as a KPI, and it's built on the premise that when organizations are primarily driven by love for people, those organizations yield greater, whether it's financial, operational, strategic, fill in the blank, whatever those metrics of success are, you achieve them because it takes people to achieve those things. And you also leave people better, both the people within the organization and the people without the organization. And so I've shared a little bit about the premise over the course of time, whether through the newsletter or through videos. I've shared some examples, and I've gone a little bit deep, a little bit, not too deep, but a little bit deep into what does this look like, what does love look like, and how is love expressed. In this video, I want to start talking now about like what do you do about it, right? So love as a KPI, if you understand that love for people is actually a really, really key strategy for your business. It's a source of differentiation, and it's a source again to sustainably, right? The key word is always sustainably drive the metrics, the formal traditional business metrics that you want. What do you do about it? Well, in a previous video, I've shared that there are 4 ways, right? So this is where I wish I was a good sort of graphic person. I would have things pop up. I am not there. And so maybe one day, but I'll share there are 4 ways I've shared that there are 4 ways that love is expressed through business. I believe it's expressed through how we lead, right? And so leadership and the practice and the posture of leadership, just genuinely, you know how a business is the perspective the business has on the people that work there, the people that are the customers. It's based on the leader's disposition. So one is through leadership. I said the second is through the offerings, whether that's the products, the services, the experiences, whatever those offerings are, right? It indicates the perspective that our organization has on people, how it delivers the offerings, what those offerings are. So for example, I have a snack company that fuels its snacks with chemicals, right? They don't have to say much, but it's evident how they see people and the value they place on people versus a snack company that does its best to try and source ingredients that are not harmful. That's a simple example. So the offerings are the second one. The third is through the value proposition and the value that it delivers. I always talk about examples. One example, when I ever ask the question about customer experience, one company that comes up a ton, better or worse, it comes up a ton, is Chick-fil-A. People love Chick-fil-A, and clearly it's a fast food company, right? But there's something beyond food that it delivers to people. There's something more valuable it delivers to people. And so while you have hundreds and hundreds of fast food restaurants, Chick-fil-A comes up consistently because beyond a good meal, they deliver people more value, whether it's people feel respected, they feel appreciated. And so the value you deliver, the quality of that value as well is another way that a business expresses its sentiments to people. And the pro tip is you always want to go higher on that value scale. You always want to go beyond the transaction. And the fourth is engagement. So we're going to say engagement is your day-to-day interaction with the people. So the things that fuel that, whether that's your policies, your communications, just the overall daily engagement, right? So LOVE, yes, I have an acronym on purpose, but how we lead, our offerings, our value proposition, and the day-to-day engagement. I believe these to some extent sort of completely encompass the way a company or organization feels about people, right? In that, things like employee benefits, those show up in the value, those show up in your offerings. And so all the things that you can think of that let you know, hey, this is how this company feels about me or sees me or how they value me, how they appreciate me. It's evident in one of those 4. So the question is always, all right, so what do we do about it? And so I've taken the time over the past few months to build sort of this foundation. My shift will now be about so what. So let me just give you high level. If you do desire to express love via business across these ways, what do you do? I'm going to start from the bottom to the top. So if you are like, okay, T-Bay, I understand engagement. I'm going to start from the bottom again. To the top. So engagement, it is in your standards, it's in your methods, it's in your policies, it's in your communications. And so the work to be done is in reviewing these things, right? There's a lot. I love as a KPI, it's wide as it is deep, but at a high level, the work to be done is reflected in your standards. What do people say about your standards, your methods, your policies, your practices, your communications? What are you communicating through your messages? Do your policies reflect the needs of people? What are those things, right? You just do, like your organization is built on, the foundation of your organization is built on. And so to make those things a source of love, you would have to look at those things and see what are they communicating in terms of your posture and your practice towards people. The second is value proposition. The work to do in making your value proposition more about love is in straight up brand strategy and repositioning work. That might surprise people. Yes, this is practical. This stuff is actually the thing that we do as an organization. So when you think of your brand strategy and your positioning, that's where your value proposition is defined. And so the work to do there, and I'm not talking about how to do it, I'm just saying here's what the work to do there is in your brand strategy. As a company, as an organization, what's your value that you want? And then can you layer in things that leave people better, right? And so you do that through whatever the process, a brand strategy planning process is how you do it. You determine what the attributes are, and you determine what your company offers, and that and find where it sort of intersects. Again, I'm not going deep into how, but I'm obviously always happy to. The third is in your offerings. How do you infuse love in your offerings? How do you infuse love through your products, your services, your experiences? The way you do that is really the practice of experience design, the practice of design strategy, the practice of unpacking what are the journeys that your customers go through or your employees go through, what are the products that you have, and looking at the attributes of those products, of those services, and those experiences, and designing the principles and the ethos of love through it, right? Again, that could be its own curriculum. And last but not least is leadership. So what if you, okay, we all have leaders exist. How does a leader become more loving? And this actually is where it all starts and ends. I believe your offerings, your value proposition, your engagement hang at the balance of leadership. And so what's the how here? It's the transformation of a leader. It's the becoming of a leader. It's who the leader themselves are becoming. And that happens where a leader really allows themselves to transform into someone who is just becoming more loving, who is just more of a loving person. Because the truth is, when you are something, everything that you do, how you lead, what you offer, what you design, what is good, your standards, your value proposition flow from it. And so we know this, but I want to spell it out. And so your engagement, you have standards, policies, your methods, you can infuse love into that. That's its own curriculum. Your value proposition, it's your brand strategy and your positioning. It's basically intentionally looking for more sources of value to provide to people that leave them better, and let that be your sort of overall value proposition that shows up in your offerings. That's where you look at your products, your services, your experiences, and you literally do it through the practice of experience strategy, experience design. You weave in principles of love through it. But the most important is leadership, the transformation of a leader. And this is what we will talk a lot more about in the session that we have on Monday the 23rd, as we go a little bit deeper in these areas, and first and foremost talk about what it means to be a leader who is leading to these outcomes already. So this is probably one of the longest videos I've done, but I did want to start to spell these things out because each one of them is weighty, and but we will over time now starting to get into the practical, what do I do about it for my company?